Hello everyone and welcome to this video. I am MechLord and today I am playing Dragon Link at home. This is basically what this deck is. So this is the new Borrel deck that was granted to us thanks to the new cards added in the latest main box, as well as the skill Borrel Link, which is pretty absurd. It has two distinct effects, the first of which is to allow us to reveal a level 7 or higher dragon monster in our hand to foolish 2 dragon monsters from our deck. And then we get to search a monster whose total attack and defense equals 4000. Monsters that qualifies for the effect include but are not limited to Exploder Rocket Dragon, Double Disruptor Dragon, Red-Eyed Black Meteor Dragon, and Artifact Lancia, which is not a dragon, but is an auto-win against so many decks in the current metagame that if you're going first, chances are this is your search target. The second effect of the skill just allows us to play a Link to Borrel for free, which means that we get to summon Quad Borrel Dragon before our opponent gets to do anything and potentially use its effect discarding a card to remove a threat on the field, which is really good going second. You'll notice that I'm playing a budget-ish build of the deck with only one Double Disruptor Dragon. I think it's fine. I've seen lists play any number ranging from 1 to 3, 3 being the most common. This is fine because we're mostly using it as a way to search Rapid Trigger or Heavy Interlock, respectively, the Fusion and Ritual spells, and though it does have a really useful effect allowing you to special rocket monsters from your graveyard, we're not using it for that. What we are using, however, is the suit of Chaos monsters. Chaos Dragon Levenier plays double duty. Going second, of course, it can pop a bunch of cards on the field, but going first, it can shuffle a card in your opponent's hand into their deck, which basically means they start with one less card, which is pretty useful. It is of course searchable through Melody of the Awakening Dragon, which also searches Borrel Riot Dragon, a pretty decent boss monster on its own that can negate the special summon of a monster and destroy itself afterwards. Note that because we are summoning it with Heavy Interlock, it will also be unaffected by effects from monsters from the extra deck, which means that this is a potential target for you to use alongside Borrel Furious Dragon, which we can make on your opponent's turn thanks to Rapid Trigger. We can't make it on our own turn because of the skill locking us into Link monsters, but it's still pretty good disruption. We are playing the classic Rocket guys, 3 Rocket Tracers, 3 Quick Launchers, 3 Explore the Rocket Dragon for the skill, and then 1 each of Magnet Rocket and Metal Rocket. Tracer does allow us to go sometimes into Void Ogre Dragon, but most often than not, I find myself going into Flash Star Dragon, which has 2 pretty useful effects. It can destroy a monster summoned to one of its link arrows, and you'll notice that it only points to zones our opponent controls, and it can negate an effect that would target it by tributing another card. Galactic Spiral Dragon is basically the other foolish target for the skill alongside Double Disruptor. It is just a free body. That is just what it is. Just specials itself for free. And Red-Eyed Black Meteor Dragon is there because it's also a free special that sends a Blue-Eyed White Dragon or any other level 8 light dragon like Rabby Dragon from our deck to grave, so we can use Levenier's destructive effect. So going first, you establish a field that is generally at least comprised of Borrel Riot Dragon and using the effect of Chaos Dragon Levenier to hand loop your opponent, and going second, thanks to Quad Borrel Dragon and all the suite of removal that you have at your disposal, you can easily OTK your opponent with Borrelsword. Let me show you how this works. So this first duel is going to be against Spectre, but they're not on plants, they are on Shiranui, everybody's favorite deck. I do get to go first, so I am going to be able to add an Lancia thanks to the skill. So my opening hand, if I remember correctly, was decent-ish, but not perfect. It still works really well though. So I'm going to normal summon Tracer, activate Melody, Tracer targeting the Melody to get a rocket, but my opponent has an effect Veiler targeting the Tracer. This is completely fine, I can deal with that. I am still going to add a Borrel Riot Dragon as well as Chaos Dragon Levenier, then activate my skill, revealing the Borrel Riot Dragon to put a Double Disruptor Dragon and then explode the rocket since I already have the Galactic Spiral that I pitched for the Melody. After that, I am going to banish the Double Disruptor in order to add a Heavy Interlock. This is something that you need to do really quickly, because otherwise you are not able to deal with DD Crow. DD Crow, like, this is a pretty huge choke point for the deck I found, if you don't do this immediately. So, I am going to tribute both my Rocket Tracer and my Rocket Dragon in hand in order to ritual summon Borrel Riot Dragon. Why do I tribute these two monsters instead of anything else? Because I can then use Chaos Dragon Levineer to special itself, banishing 3 of my Darks in grave in order to hand loop my opponent and pass the turn. So this is not the greatest board, but this was not the greatest opening hand, so can you really blame me? Anyway, immediately in draw phase, I'm going to activate Lancia, my opponent, which is probably enough to just win the game on the spot. They're gonna get Shiranui Spirit Master, gonna normal summon the Shiranui Squire, which they're gonna use to then go into the Shiranui Squire saga. At this point, I can just negate the summons. So I'm just gonna negate the summon. This is just what I do. I top deck Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is like the one brick in my deck that I don't want to see. I am going to use the skill to put a quad Borrel on my field and try to revive the Galactic bigger dragon, whatever it's called, but I'm going to get DD Crowed, but this doesn't matter because it is still lethal on board. So game, pretty quick, pretty easy. Didn't get to go into a big Borrel, didn't even need to. Lancia wins games on its own. This second game is going to be against a Selena player using Tenyi, which is a deck that is by and large completely power creep, but that people are going to play anyway because it's budget and they have it, and why would they play anything else? So this hand does contain a rapid trigger which will allow me to showcase the power of Borrel Furious Dragon, one of the coolest cards that you used to be able to play in Rocket. So pitching this time Double Disruptor and Galactic Spiral to add a Lancia, I am then going to be able once again to banish the Double Disruptor to get AV Interlock. Quick launch into Rocket Tracer once again. Melody pitching the Exploder Rocket Dragon and popping the Melody of Rocket Tracer in order to get a Magna Rocket, and then once again Borrel Riot and Chaos Dragon Levineer. Heavy Interlock destroying the Rocket Tracer and the Magna Rocket Dragon. They're going to be able to float. Well, the Magna Rocket is going to be able to float in end phase, but not the other guy. For Borrel Riot Dragon, actually I spoke too soon because I'm going to banish both of them for the Chaos Dragon Levineer, so none of them are going to float anyway. Levineer is going to end loop my opponent once again. This time I'm going to get to use the Galactic Spiral Dragon, special summoning itself as an additional body that I can use as fusion material for the Borrel Furious Dragon. In draw, once again, I'm going to Lancia my opponent. They're going to activate Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, followed by an Ashona, which will be met by a rapid trigger on my side because I just realized I don't want them to draw 2 cards, actually. I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm going to fusion summon the Borrel Furious Dragon by destroying the 2 monsters on my field, which is completely fine. You'll notice that something very funny has happened. The Galactic Spiral Dragon was put back into my grave because Lancia prevents both players from banishing cards. So instead of getting banished as it should have, just went to grave. It just went to grave. Anyway, they're gonna make a Tenyi little guy. At this point, I'm just gonna pop the field spell because I decided I could. You'll notice that I targeted the Borrel Riot Dragon, which, as mentioned before, is protected from effects from monsters special from the extra deck, thanks to Heavy Interlock. So you can just do that. There's just something that you're allowed to do. They're then gonna summon the Mapora and go into Shaman of the Tenyi, at which point I'm like, you know what, I'm probably just gonna negate the summon. I probably didn't need to use the Borrel Furious Dragon to pop the field spell. Probably was a mistake, but it was pretty fun to do. So Borrel Link does mean I get to special a quad Borrel for free, and then I'm gonna get to special the Galactic Spiral for free, and then I have quick launch also, so I can just quick launch into another body, go into a borrelsword Dragon with my Borrel Furious still on the field, and that's like 3 lethals. So these were a couple of games in which I went first and activated Lancia to instantly win, but what happens when you go second? Well, here's the mirror match for anyone interested, against someone who has a more developed build playing 30 cards and presumably, I couldn't check the deck list, presumably 3 Double Disruptor, which makes it a pretty interesting replay if you ask me. So, first and foremost, they're going to activate this skill, revealing Double Disruptor to send Borrel and Exploder Rocket to add a Lancia. They're going to Borrel Riot Dragon, destroying a Magna Rocket, to get back the Borrel Red Dragon. They're going to normally double disrupt the dragon, then tribute it to revive, the Explorer rockets and the Magna rockets that they had sent by using combination of the skill and the Borrel Red Dragon. They're going to put both of these monsters into Dangerous Dragon, which not that impressive a monster. Then they're going to activate Melody, pitching a double disruptor in order to get 2 Leveniers, including the old artwork one, which I think looks kind of cool, but I prefer the original. They're going to summon the original Levenier and outloop me for 1. Fortunately, they got a card that I had 2 copies of in my hand. Then they're going to link summon into Flash Charge Dragon, which is a pretty interesting monster, design-wise, and also kind of annoying, but we can deal with it. Then they're going to activate Heavy Interlock, tributing the second Levenier in order to ritual summon the Borrel Riot Dragon with a Lancia in hand. So this would be a complicated matchup had my opponent thought about activating Lancia at any point during this game. They did not. So I'm just gonna get to reveal the Explorer Rocket, send Double Disruptor and Galactic Spiral to get a rapid trigger this time. I figured it'd be more useful, especially since I do not have the Borrel Red Dragon in hand. I am going to use the skill to summon a Quad Borrel and pitch the Artifact Lancia that is probably of no use to me in order to try and get rid of the Flash Charged Dragon, which I think does represent kind of a threat. But my opponent is going to elect to protect this Flash Charge by tributing the Borrel Red Dragon. I think that was a misplay. At this stage, I'm just going to quick launch in order to special a Rocket Tracer. Then I'm going to Red Meteor Black Dragon special itself by pitching a Blue Eyes. My opponent is going to Flash Charge to try and destroy the Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon. What a mouthful name, what a long-ass name. But I'm going to be able to chain Rocket Tracer's effect, and my opponent acknowledges that they've been defeated by the superior Borrel Duelist. So, Lancia is still pretty important in the mirror specifically. Why would you not activate it? This will also have prevented me from using Levenier, which I was going to do next. I deserve the win. So all in all, I really like this deck. I'm fond of aggro strategies in general, and this is a deck that does aim to win as soon as you get a battle phase, which is the kind of deck that I really enjoy. The last aggro deck that I really enjoyed in a similar fashion was Infernoid, but Infernoid was much more linear. This deck has a lot more room for expression, like you could see the triple version of Double Disruptor Dragon during the duel that has, I think, a higher ceiling. Some players have taken to playing, what's this card called? Rom Claudia, which, when destroyed by battle or card effects, including the Borrel Riot Dragon's effect to destroy a card in hand to put it back, will allow you to special summon a level 4 or lower Cyberstack monster, such as the infamously appreciated Ibli, which is then used to Ibli lock your opponent. This might not be the greatest strategy out there, but it is pretty funny to just put another floodgate on top of your opponent's board. This deck's ability to search and use Lancia is definitely like the greatest part of it. I'd even consider maybe playing more than a single Lancia, but I think this budget-ish version, especially if you already have the Rocket Core of 3 Tracer, 3 Quick Launch, does the job appropriately for now. And I don't think there's much else to add. I think Void Ogre is a bit cope. Maybe I'll end up cutting it. I don't find myself going into it all that often. What do you think, though? I'm looking forward to your feedback, and I'm also looking forward to playing some more of this deck. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments, and I will see you all next time.